The Phase 3 raid loot has been data mined, and today we're going to go over all of the new tier sets, because there's going to be new tier sets for every kind of specialization for every class, and they're pretty phenomenal. Some of them might not feel nearly as powerful as others, but I'm going to break down all of the new tier sets for you guys today. I did this live on stream earlier today, but I wanted to do a second run through so I can have more concise thoughts for you all. And of course, we're over here in spoilers territory, so beware. But if you just want to see what some of the new items look like, some of them look pretty epic, actually. Some of the new weapons are pretty dope, but let's look at the tier sets. There's a ton of items released today, but we just want to look at the tier sets themselves, starting with the cloth sets. So cloth has three major sets. You have the tank set for warlocks, which is called the Nightmare Prophets Vestments, or the Nightmare Prophets set. This set will all have increased stamina, which is very solid, pretty much no intellect from what I remember seeing. So just be aware, there's like very, very little intellect. It will have increased armor on these sets to make the warlock tanks a little bit more tanky, and it will be giving you things like hit rating as well as increase to spell damage. So the chest is one of the strongest pieces for pretty much all of the sets for every class. You'll see that moving forward. So for warlock tanks, we have the chest that gives you 1% hit and 20 spell damage as well as the stamina, and the 2 set bonus is to increase your chance to hit one more time. Very important for tanks. Very vital. And then the 3 set bonus is 15 stamina, and a static set bonus of either hit, crit, or giving something like 15 of one of your main stats is something that seems to be pretty much a trend here. So moving below that, we have the healing set. This is the healing set for priests as well as mages. It actually doesn't show mage right here, but it will be available for mage, it seems like. So the Benevolent Prophets set will give you increase to healing as always. So 37 healing, which is pretty huge. It feels like these gear sets feel extremely powerful, although compared to the Nomer sets, some of them aren't like too crazy, but you also get 6 MP5. And on all of the healing sets across all layers between the cloth one, leather one, mail one, and plate, you will also see something like a MP5 2 set bonus and a increase in healing on the actual 3 set. Then we have the DPS caster set, the Malevolent Prophets set. So Malevolent, Benevolent, and Nightmare. And this will give you increases to crit here as well as 23 spell damage. This is a super strong chest with 7 intellect or 7 stamina and 11 intellect. And the tier set bonus will give you 1% hit as well as 18 spell damage and healing. Now there's a ton of offset items that we can find in the data mining, and they're very solid. Things like the garments here of the Atalai Prophet or this epic chest piece, but you're probably still just going to end up using your tier set. So I wouldn't be too stressed about this. Now for the boots for the tanking warlocks, we have more plus armor, more stamina, and then fire damage. Uniquely, we have specifically fire damage here. This is 24 fire damage. Pretty large amount actually on the boots, because if you compare them to the spell damage boots, the Malevolent set for other casters, or just raw damage set, then you have 1 hit, which is actually massive, and 15 spell damage. So instead of 24 fire damage, you have 15 spell damage. Then you would get intellect and spirit, no stamina there, and just stamina on the tanking set. But for healers, they get 20 intellect, no stamina at all, and plus 18 healing. So you're even getting more fire damage than you are getting healing for the healing set. Then if we move down, and let me scroll all the way down to, there's actually really solid helms here. So not that one that I care about. This one's for the tanking warlocks, fire damage and stamina. This one is 55 healing. Just absolutely crazy. And this one literally gives you another hit percentage and 21 spell damage. There are like absolutely insanely powerful items in here. So now moving back onto the tier sets for tanking warlocks, we have the Nightmare boots, or sorry, the Nightmare legs, more armor, more stamina, and the trend continues, but now it is raw spell damage, 21 damage and healing. For the healers, we get plus 40 healing, which is another huge amount of plus healing. Our like stats are going to be kind of through the roof, although I would be wary. I'm looking at casters first, but I think this is going to be a phase for melee. So I'll talk about that in like my next video, especially when I break down the runes. Casters didn't get nearly as many DPS runes as melee, it seems, but plus 40 healing is huge, and all 3 of your major stats on the legs. And for the DPS casters, you have 23 pure 23 spell damage and a massive amount of intellect, 19 intellect, and that completes your 3 set, which will give you an extra 18 spell damage. So you're definitely going to go with the set bonuses. There's a mini Banthok sash. If you've ever played Classic before, your pre-bis belt for mages, warlocks, any caster is basically exactly like this belt that we can get, this plus hit and plus spell damage. So we're going to have a lot of items that are really good for that. Now, druids have specs that are unique to themselves for leather, right? Druids have a spell damage druid for Boomkin, they have a healing druid for Resto, and also they are going to be sharing their melee damage gear with rogues. So be aware of that druids will have 3 sets. Rogues obviously have Actually, rogues have 2 sets. Rogues get to tank now. So rogues actually get a unique tank set. So first, looking at the druid healer set, and I wonder if I can actually click directly on, oh, I can. Perfect. I like that they've updated this. So first, looking at the druid healer set, again, you can see the set bonuses are mana per 5 as well as plus healing. So the 2 set, always going to be MP5, 3 set, going to be plus healing. Now the chest gives you 40 healing, 12 int, and 17 spirit. It is a lot of spirit, which you always see for the healing sets, as well as a similar situation here on the legs, which give you 35 plus healing, and the boots with 6 MP5, bringing that up to 10 MP5 from the set itself, and 18 plus healing. This is actually not perfect. This shows the leather piece, the exiled prophet piece, but it says priest mage. This is the Resto Druid piece though. So just beware, everything literally started getting data mined today, so it won't all be perfect. I need to go back. Perfect. Now we can see the Boomkin set, the Lost Worshippers set. This is a set that will again give you MP5 as the DPS set. Some of them also will give MP5 as their 2 set, and then plus spell damage, the same thing, the plus 18 for the 3 set bonus. This chest piece gives you crit as well as spell damage, 26 spell damage and healing, which is large. Also a raw, like all of your major stats, and 25 spell damage and healing, then another hit percentage here, and 14 spell damage and healing on the boots. That is 1 crit, 1 hit, and a ton of spell damage and healing, and a lot of intellect, some spirit, and some stamina. Moving back down, we now have the Rogue set. This is the Rogue and Druid damage set, and if you look at this chest piece, this chest piece actually feels amazing. Let me just grab all of the set real fast for you guys. The chest piece feels amazing. 11 strength, 18 agility. This is like some really, really powerful stats. Obviously, you'd probably like more strength for the Druid, but Rogue likes both of these, and this set bonus will increase your chance to hit and increase your chance to crit. I originally thought this was one of my least favorite set bonuses, and you'll see soon when we get to something like Shaman. Originally, I thought this was one of my least favorite sets, but I do really like the raw stats here. This is really solid also for PvP. If you were just going for pure DPS damage, you would actually not have like stamina on here, but obviously set bonuses almost always do. Now, the legs, look at these. 1 crit, 36 attack power, which for most classes that's usually like 2 attack power per 1 agility, or a coefficient near there, and also 15 stamina. So you can anticipate this as something like 18 agility or strength, whatever equates to your version of 36 attack power. No crit from it other than the 1% crit, and then 15 stamina. It's a pretty solid chest piece, not amazing, or solid leggings, not like absolutely insane, but very, very strong. And then the boots, kind of my biggest letdown in any of the sets. This is 18 agility and 12 stamina. I don't know why, it just feels like a letdown for druids and for rogues. It just doesn't feel like the most powerful thing, but it will bring you online, so you can basically get 1 more crit from this, from the 3 set bonus. Now we have the tanking set finally, and this is the first tanking set for rogues, also for druids. So this tanking set will always have plus armor. You can see the armor is very, very high here, especially on the chest piece. And this is actually like an amazing, amazing set piece. This is 10 strength, 10 agility, 15 stamina, and 1 hit. This is like This is one of my favorite pieces of the entirety of all of the set pieces we see from Sunken Temple coming soon. Then we also here have these set bonuses that are 10 stamina and 15 agility. Then for the legs, you get 2% dodge. That's a lot of mitigation when druids and rogues are basically focused on dodge. Now, druids can't parry, but dodge and parry are the main mitigators for the leather class tanks. 2% of it is very, very hefty. Only 5 agility and 13 stamina. This doesn't really help you out in DPS, although rogues got like an overpower ability potentially as one of the runes. So be aware, rogue tanks will do like great damage. Actually, they're gonna output amazing damage. So this is a really nice one. Getting extra dodge feels very, very solid. And for the boots, you have 12 strength, 13 agility, and 10 stamina. This is again one of those all around things where, and we'll see this quite often now, you're getting like every stat, but you're not getting like useless stats. Although stamina is never thought of as like the best stat, there's at least hopefully not going to be an option in this raid like the irradiated set that like gives you slightly more damage for having less stamina, because everyone in classic WoW is a min-maxer and you will just choose whatever is your BIS. Like, you'll just choose your BIS. Whatever is going to give you slightly more damage, everyone's going to choose it. So if something else happens, you wouldn't ever use it. There's some nice offset pieces too. I think everyone gets some really, really, really powerful offset pieces. Like this rogue helm, 15 stamina, 1 crit, 38 attack power from the helm, and it looks pretty good, like my boy Black Reaper actually pointed out. It's kind of a fun helm. So there's some cool looking items in here. Then let's go all the way down because these things are great. These shoulders are crazy. 9 strength, 7 agility, 12 stamina, 1 dodge on shoulders. I'm blown away by some of the pieces. And then you get some pieces that like, is anyone going to use 6 agility, 16 stamina? Only if bosses hit really hard. But that's the only way anyone really uses anything like that. Now we have the hunter sets. There is actually 2 hunter sets, which is really nice. There's finally a hunter set for ranged hunter and a hunter set for melee hunter. This is the ranged hunter set, where the 2 set gives you 24 extra ranged attack power, and the 3 set gives you 15 agility, which is gonna give you a little bit of crit as well as 30 more ranged attack power, because you get 2 ranged attack power per crit. Now the chest piece, 25 agility. This is 50 ranged attack power right here, and 1 crit. It's a pretty solid chest piece for ranged hunter, and they're trying to make ranged hunter actually viable again. Although one of the runes might make it just like you have to play melee hunter, but it's pretty solid. Now the boots or the legs also very, very good. You get some stamina, but 23 agility. All of these sets or all of these pieces will be very, very heavy in agility, and you will get 1% hit. But then again, the boots, 18 agility, 8 stamina, and 8 intellect. Now, if I could pull up, actually, let me see if I can pull these up. The OG Giant Stalker boots, 28 agility. This is tier 1, 28 agility, 14 stamina. Now look at these, 18 agility, 8 stamina, 8 intellect. It's literally 10 intellect less than your tier 1 epic boots, which is pretty nice, to be honest. We're just looking at it, that's pretty nice. We look at the breastplate, similar situation, 26 agility, 1 crit, and for the chest here we have 25 agility, 1 crit. It's like these set bonuses are very, very solid. Okay, then if we look at the shaman, now we have this one is the Resto Shaman set. Same situation like I've mentioned, that your set bonuses is gonna be MP5 plus healing, 33 plus healing. They get a lot of plus healing in shamans, as well as the paladin healer set will give you a lot of like crit, and there's also kind of a Shockadin set. So if your paladin wants to do a lot of damage, especially spell damage, you can do that with one of the male sets. You'll see it in a second. That's going to be the Ele Shaman set, as well as a paladin damage kind of set. But this gives you stamina and intellect, crit, healing, and MP5. Those are 3 ridiculously powerful stats, especially if it's all the way at 33 healing, 35 more healing and more MP5, as well as a ton of intellect here on the legs, and then more MP5. So shamans are getting stacked up with MP5, and they're getting a lot of intellect as well as a good amount of plus healing. Now, do note that there's like no spirit on here, so your mana regen is coming purely from mana per 5 here from your set as a shaman healer. Now we have the set I was talking about. This is the Ele Shaman set, and this will give you a 2 set of +1 hit to spells, or +1 hits to everything, since hit is universal now, and you also will get 18 spell damage, so that's pretty much in line with everything else. Now this chest piece has no other stats other than armor. I'm not sure if that's 100% correct. I believe it might be, but it's giving you 29 spell damage and 1 crit. So a lot of spell damage and a whole crit. Then you're getting more crit here from the legs, another percent, that's 2 plus 26 more spell damage and some intellect, and then more intellect and more crit. This is 3 crit, 1 crit for each piece, pure intellect, no stamina whatsoever, no spirit whatsoever, and also pure spell damage. So you're getting all together 3% chance to crit, 1 hit, and a ton of spell damage, some intellect. Now, this is potentially my favorite set. This is the enhanced shamans are loving life. Look at this chest piece. Look how well-rounded it is. It's giving you strength, agility, stamina, and intellect. And that's actually something you won't, or you do see on kind of a lot of these pieces here, which is something that might cause a little bit of qualms in the community, because whenever you get any stats, again, that are not just pure damage, people get very upset. So like seeing stamina and intellect on a piece ends up frustrating people. Although with the new rune for shaman, intellect gets translated into attack power, so maybe they won't be upset. Either way though, you get all of those stats: 9 strength, 10 agility, 28 attack power, and 1 crit. That's amazing. In my opinion, I think this is the best piece. This is beautiful. Now the 2 set bonus is 20 more attack power, and the 3 set bonus is 15 strength. For your legs, you get strength, stamina, and intellect, no agility, unfortunately, here for the legs, and you do get 1% crit. So unfortunate that we don't get any like agility. Maybe it'd be cool to see the intellect go into agility, but again, that's like neither here nor there, especially if you get such a strong chest piece. Then the legs are 12 strength, 8 agility, 10 stamina, or 11 stamina, and 10 intellect. This is kind of just a pure stat, right? Everything here has a lot of stats. This one has just all of its stat weights were given to stats. It'd be cool to see like a hit percentage, but that's like asking for too much. Plus shamans, like enhanced shamans, it was like there's a nerf, but then they got buffed, and it's gonna be a fun phase for enhanced shamans. Melee hunters also are probably having a decent time. As for offset items, there's another like good set of offset items. This Helm of Narv, or Helm of the Exile, gives you 36 attack power, some agility, and intellect. But there's also another helm, here it is, it gives you 30 attack power, 1 crit, stamina, and intellect. So you'll see a lot of really, really good pieces coming as your offset pieces for pretty much everyone. But now we can move on. We have the leatherworking epic shoulders. First, I guess I should have pointed these out. The epic shoulders that will give you a buff, which I think will apply within the Sunken Temple zone. It's definitely applying in the Emerald Nightmare, the new event zone, where you'll have these buffs that will give you something like 10% casting speed or 5% melee haste and some attack power. So you're getting some really, really powerful buffs. And whenever you see these, I can go over all of the items from the actual professions in another video. I'll actually have that probably later today. So don't worry about that, but those are all very, very solid. And the offset items are really good. There's like crazy rings too that we'll get into. Now on to the final classes, and what I anticipate to be the God King Chad class, as it always has and always will be in WoW Classic, the Warrior, as well as I guess the Ret Paladin, but you know, the Warrior, because you're probably playing Horde right now with Shamans. The Warrior, 16 strength, 16 agility on the chest piece. Now this is not necessarily the most impressive chest piece, and I think some of their gear might not be the most impressive because the class is just gonna be so ridiculously strong. The new runes look amazing if they are actually coming out the way that they are, as well as we're getting things like recklessness. So you'll see warriors doing like 2,000-3,000 DPS on some fights for the top warriors, especially because bosses will no longer have the ridiculous amounts of armor since they're no longer mechanical. So just get ready for that. Warriors having fun. Anyways, the Wailing Berserker's Chestplate. This is going to give you your 2 set bonus is going to be 1 chance to hit, which is always nice, 1 chance to hit, as well as 15 strength for the 3 set bonus. Again, this is all in line. Everything kind of is the same between all of the specs, just kind of interchangeable. The leggings, these are really nice. 21 strength. A ton of strength and 1 crit. Beautiful leggings here for warriors, as well as the boots giving you 28 attack power and 8 agility. You get no intellect here on this set at all, so Ret Paladins aren't getting an intellect. I'm not sure if they have issues with mana anymore. I know Shamans don't with Shamanistic Rage, but I haven't played a Ret Paladin, and I leveled the Flavor of the Month Shaman because I wanted to prove how ridiculous it is. But this set is very, very solid. You get a lot of stamina, or a decent amount of stamina, a ton of strength, and a good chunk of agility, which is giving you crit, as well as you're already getting crit right here, and you're getting some hit from the set bonus, as well as some extra strength. So this is basically focused on a ton of strength, whereas your builds are going to be kind of focused on hopefully getting you as many crits as possible. So be ready, warriors, to do crazy, crazy damage if you can get the crits. Now, as the healing set for paladins, and this might be one of the classes that kind of got the least amount of love, it looks like, so far from the runes, but we're still waiting to see everything come out. But this healing set is very, very solid. Like the shaman set, it will give you a ton of crit. So you will see crit here on the chest piece, as well as stamina, intellect, and 37 healing. Like I mentioned earlier, that's a solid amount of healing. Is pretty much standard for everyone. Then you have more crit on the legs, and more intellect, stamina, and more healing. And then on the boots, surprise, surprise, more crit. Holy Paladins love crit. They love crit. It'll help you with your mana issues, as well as get some big hits off. So this is the set that gives you a lot of love. There's a lot of specialization going into this, and I believe Blizzard, when they designed this, they were really thinking about, like, Holy Paladins need some love. They never really get a good set to themselves, and this one is definitely very, very, very catered to Holy Paladins. Now, the last one we have is the tanking set, and that is going to be a tanking set that will give you obviously a ton of stamina, a ton of armor, as well as some block. We can definitely, from looking at it, anticipate that the bosses in Sunken Temple will hit way harder than something we're getting hit by right now. Especially with a 20-man raid, you're gonna need to be able to perform even better. So you'll have more of an eclectic build or raid group, and I think that warrior tanks are something that are gonna maybe didn't get as much love. Like the DPS spec Gladiator Stance, that totally got a crazy amount of love. And so you might actually end up using that in raids if you're warrior tanking. I'm not 100% sure yet. We'll figure it out, but it also looks like just like an absolute PvP spec where you're kind of a beast. So anyways, you're getting some block value here. Strength and agility. Agility gives you crit, dodge, armor value, and you also get stamina, of course. Then similar situation where you just get raw stats on the legs, strength, agility, and stamina. And then on the boots, you get 1% chance to block and +5 to defenses. This is a pretty early time to get some defense skill up, which is going to be really, really useful for you, especially if you're looking at like some of the other classes who inherently from their runes pretty much just become uncrittable. Like any of the classes that wasn't necessarily a tank before, they're getting uncrushable. So like you have to work for it as a warrior. So seeing this plus defense is really nice. Then +1 hit as the set bonus, and the 3-piece set bonus is giving you +15 stamina. Now that rounds out all of these set bonuses or these set pieces from the raid for your classes. Now, there's also going to be sets from PvP as well as sets from the PvP event. So getting rank 7 will give you a full set as well as the event. But I did want to really quickly just call out some of the rings, because on stream earlier, I actually kind of missed how crazy these rings were. But 1% hit, 20 attack power ring, and then the epic ring, which is probably going to be what you're getting for the quest turn in, is going to be rings now. And you can get the epic ring, another 1 hit and 20 more attack power. That's 40 attack power and 2% hit just from rings alone, potentially. So that's going to be pretty nice. We'll see some beautiful stuff there. Healing ring with MP5, spell damage rings aren't like too ridiculous, but there is an armor ring also and a ranged hunter ring showing some love. 31 ranged attack power as well as giving you some hit chance. So that is a full breakdown of all of the tier sets that we will be seeing in Sunken Temple. Now, let me know in the comments which ones you think are more powerful or which classes got more love than others, or if something needs to potentially be buffed. I think it's pretty well rounded, and I will definitely be giving my opinions or predictions on what classes I think will be excelling really well. Today we started the stream by looking at all of the talents and also all of the skills that the classes got and compared those to each other to show which classes would get the most there. But with the runes, it kind of throws everything out the window. Like, druids got a lot from their talents, but druid runes are like, it's like a DPS loss. It's like literally some of them don't give you any damage. But with every phase comes a lot of new excitement, comes a lot of class tuning, comes a lot of class nerfs. So we'll see what happens as the phase launches. At least it'll be really fast to level as well. And I'm really excited for the new raid. So guys, if you want to stay up to date on everything coming out, as well as me breaking down, literally I will break down all of the new runes and just try to give you all of the information. Of course, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys all on the next one.